evening, everyone. It is March 4th, 2024, and I am going mostly unscripted for the first time to talk about a subject near and dear to my heart: video games and their preservation. Ever since I was 5, I was captivated by the bleeps and bloops coming from the games off my dad's computer. Nothing much has changed. Video games are mostly adrenaline-shot, brain-killing time wasters, but they can and have been so much more since then. They can bring you to every corner of someone's vivid imagination, or take you into the worlds of your favorite books or movies. And they only got better as I got older, creating motivational masterpieces like Halo Combat Evolved and Mother 3. I thought I made the right choice to reject the drug pushers in my high school in favor of pursuing my geekier high-tech interests. Now, it's no secret that I used emulators in order to capture footage of my favorite games to tell you all about them. It's how I've done every single one of my classic reviews so far. Little did I know that my interests were going to bite me in the butt more than 24 years later, with the worst curveball imaginable. Today is the day Nintendo set a terrible precedent for emulation by convincing the developers of Yuzu and Citra their work facilitated piracy on a mass scale by picking technological protection measures, whatever the that means. This puts the progress of some of my reviews in jeopardy, but let's push that aside for a second. There's a couple of things I should acknowledge before proceeding forward. I'm not stupid. I know how damaging piracy can be to both the independent developer and the hardware manufacturers. Nintendo's had a nasty history of pirates ever since the beginning with Donkey Kong. I don't think I need to explain Big Kong's awfulness. There's no justification for this existing. I also admit to freeloading several games that were out of my price range at the time, not sure whether or not I'd like them. But when I had the cash, I coughed it up in good faith that the cash would go to the developers and investors that collaborated to make these great games happen in the first place. Case in point, Resident Evil Revelations. But there are legitimate cases for emulation to exist. Nothing lasts forever, especially computer parts. So, I think me trying to get my 3DS to work should explain everything you need to know. So this is my 3DS XL. This astrological brick has been beating boredom for 8 years now. I picked it up in 2016, and it's been serving me well since. Recently, I decided to revisit it because the eShop with all the games on it is shutting down. Here's Star Fox 64 3D, a great version of a great game that takes full advantage of the system's gimmicks and capabilities. In goes the game, and I realized I have a problem. I wore this thing out from so much use to the point where the A button no longer works. Even if you're using the gyro controls on this bad boy. I was worried it wasn't going to start up there. But even if I were to use the gyro controls on this bad boy, I can't play it at all because the shoot button ain't working. I could take this to the shops to get it repaired, but that's not the issue. My point is, there will come a time where all of these won't boot at all 20 to 30 years from now. Not just mine from wearing it out, but even those safely sitting in storage. So, how am I supposed to play it if it's illegal to hack or repair your own systems? The thought of being arrested for wanting to play a game I bought with my own savings is ludicrous. Why should I care or be invested in you at all if this is the thanks I get? That's just one of the many headaches caused by the anti-circumvention law. I'm in the crosshairs despite being a legitimate buyer, while the cheapskates that never bought a game in their life get to party on all night long. The worst part is, it doesn't have to be this way. To the best of my understanding, the anti-circumvention rules weren't set until 1998. Up until then, you could do whatever you needed to do to get your discs running again, including copying the manual, as long as you didn't give those copies to your friends or sell them. Those were reasonable rules that worked both ways, for the buyer and the seller. But no, that's not enough. It never was for these people. It makes a fool of Nintendo and the law itself. Since there's nothing specific for technological protection measures, you just gotta stick a thumb up your ass and guess. Better cough up that Super Noah's Ark game. It skips the lockout chip. What a joke. I would strongly suggest a grandfather clause for anything made before or during 1997, because the reach is too far. Poor Grandpa just wants to play King's Quest without trouble, like he always has. That shouldn't be too much to ask. And if it is, I've truly wasted my time and talent on gangs of miserly thugs and extortionists, and should have stolen everything from them. That's all for now. I hope I don't have to make another video like this again. Videos will be privatized as necessary, but for the time being, it looks like they'll steady up. I'll see you all next time with a proper review.